All right, welcome back. You know, a lot of the recent data has repriced a lot of the products we talk about on this show. And as I'm sure you're aware, I'm still on Recession Island, and it's gotten pretty lonely as of late until today. How about this? CoBank came out with its quarterly report saying things don't look so great going forward. A rapidly rising interest rate environment, quantitative tightening, and a dwindling money supply are yet to be fully felt in this economy. Those Fed actions are combined with depleted consumer savings, a tighter bank lending standards, and a persistently inverted yield curve. That spells one thing: trouble. They even went as far as saying a mild recession and put a time frame on it by the fourth quarter of this year. So there you have it. CoBank moved onto Recession Island, and I might be safe in saying that real estate on Recession Island just got a little bit more expensive. My next guest hopes I'm keeping a beverage cold for him on the island. Please welcome to the show, Scott Bauer. Scott, thanks for being on. I'm almost going to say, okay, first of all, a lot of folks have left Recession Island. A lot of people are now throwing in the towel, thinking everything's great because they just look at the stock indices and jobs, period. That's all they're looking at. There's a lot more out there than that. And I think that CoBank has really said, maybe Captain Obvious would have said it, right? I think that's exactly what we've been thinking, but they've got a little bit more heft to them, and they've come in and said what I think we all should be worried about. What do you think?
No doubt, and they said exactly what you and I have been talking about over the last several months. It's a good thing that I have a room on the other side of the island, that I've been there with you, because I actually think that we've been in recession for the last 6 months. I don't care what the metric from the government say about, 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP. I don't care about that. I look at Main Street USA, and Main Street USA, Scott, as you said, the highest consumer debt we've ever had, the lowest consumer savings. Prices, yes, they're coming down. They're still expensive. Wages are not keeping up with the increase in prices. I just think there's trouble around the corner. And for many, many people, not the rich elite, not the upper class, but for many, many people, it's already been a recession. And I don't care what the metrics are, what the definition is, what the government says it is. We've been in one. I think we're going to continue to be in one. Hopefully it doesn't get worse. But, I'll just look at the bond market, like you talked about also. Look at the 2s, look at the 10s. You know what? We're in a recession.
Yeah, and, they also brought up something that people don't talk a lot about because it kind of gets a little bit technical, but them too, the money supply, which basically is just the amount of money out there. We have brought in so much cash back in from taking it out of the economy. That's another thing that's going to be a problem. And so here we sit, and everybody, do you have the same problem I do? Everybody goes right to jobs and right to the stock market when you say, you know what, I'm not quite so sure about how great this economy is. But you know what? Bankruptcies are up corporate bankruptcies up 93% over this time last year. I've got so many other stats, because I've been doing it a long time, that are telling me danger Will Robinson. But then I have a lot of folks that are jumping off the island saying, yeah, but look at jobs and look at these stocks. I don't care. 7 stocks, which is why the NASDAQ is repricing today for Monday morning. Yep. They had 7 out of 100 stocks that were of 50% of that index. Now, the SEC says they actually have to put a haircut on those 7 stocks.
Yes,
but
they do.
That tells me something there, right? That tells me that things are a little bit out of whack. What do you say?
There's no question. And again, there's a difference between just looking at the data and the reality of what's happening on Main Street. And Main Street, it's not a good situation right now. This buy now, pay later is so out of control. It has led to this maximum amount of consumer debt that as a country we have just driven up, and it's going to come home to roost at some point. I don't mean to, sound like Pollyanna. I don't want to sound, so negative, because there are a lot of bright spots about the economy right now. But it is you just cannot overlook the amount of debt. You cannot overlook still this inversion in rates. You just can't.
And to your point, so look, I'm glad I'm not in the administration right now. I get it, Bidenomics, and you want to try to tout something that's pretty good. But you know what? To your point, and we get it all the time on the cow phone with folks writing into us, that 2/3 of the economy, like you said, the upper third, those wealthy people, they don't feel inflation. And unfortunately, they benefit a lot from it because a lot of them are in the stock market. And that's been one of the big bright spots in the whole thing. But if you're not there and you're on Main Street and you're just working and trying to pay for next month with this month's money, it has been horrible for it, because everybody's getting excited about this 3% CPI we just got. That means we're 3% higher than this time last year. But this time last year, we were 9.1% higher than the year before. So we're compounding on even higher prices. Yeah. Nobody's getting a break. So to your point, facts versus feelings. I think it's going to be really hard sell for the administration to make people feel better with what's been going on out there on Main Street. What say you?
I mean, have you actually spoken with anyone? I'm not just talking about friends, but, go out on the street outside of your studio there and say, how do you feel about what's going on in the economy? I guarantee you, if you talk to 10 people, you're going to get at least 7 or 8 that say, I don't feel very good. That's the reality. That's the truth of it. And again, I can't, talk about this enough. This amount of debt that we have piled up. Okay, there's not going to be debt relief to your credit cards, like what's going on right now. We're not going to see debt relief there. We're going to see just a lot of liquidation. We're going to see some bankruptcies, and I kind of fear for what's going to happen down the road. I'm not saying that there's going to be a market crash or anything like that. I just think that there's going to be incredibly tough times sooner rather than later.
All right. I owe it to you. That's the best segue I could have ever asked for. We're going to talk about the $13 billion that America just spent in the last 2 days on Amazon Prime Day. So that's our next segment. Really appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much. Scott Bauer comes to us from Chicago with Prosper Trading. He's the big